and I think this is like what was driving us, right? This is how do you make like a website is a collaborative effort, right, between the designers and the developers and the editors, right, which can be marketers or salespeople or product managers or CEOs of startups or whatnot. And that piece is always has a little bit of friction, because oftentimes the developer um, does not want to make uh, content changes. It's not something that's really in their interest scope, right? And it just adds a lot of overhead, and those engineers are oftentimes not just working only on front end on the website, but they're building the core application and other things in the company. And then on the other side, you have let's say the marketers whose scope is to get business and get leads into the product, and right, and eventually generate interested people and sales right down the line. And they end up being blocked, right? Not on purpose, right? But they're being just dependent on the developers, and they cannot make all the changes that they want on their own. This leads to a lot of frustration and a lot of just like people spending a lot of time on this manual coordination instead of on their job and getting results, because speed matters in these cases. Speed and the ease of doing this. If something is really hard and you're afraid of it, right? Like it's like, oh, now I have to go through this whole process, and talk to this developer, and then I know there'll be a back and forth, and like they'll be busy, and they'll like kind of like they're gonna like cringe their face at me. It's like it's not gonna be like great. I don't. Now I'm like, maybe I don't make that change. It's not that important. I'll make a bunch of changes together at some point. Um, and I've seen this in the past. I've worked at Facebook, I've worked at Lyft, and I've seen how um, this can affect the business, right? If you have empowered editors, marketers, product managers, salespeople, they can make a lot of iterations and a lot of changes, and they're experts at what they do, and they drive a lot of impact to the business, right? With these small changes, and we should encourage them to just do more of this. Nobody is just like, oh, I'm gonna like nail it in the first attempt, right? And so people evolve a lot of this, SEO and just generally building a brand takes a lot of content and investment over time. So you want to make sure that that is something easy and enjoyable to do, and like something that you can look at the results and every person can drive their own, um, do their own job essentially, right? Um, and I think there's a lot of fear, right? Of like, what happens if I break the site? As if you're an editor, what happens if I now, it's like I'm dealing with like I'm not just changing a string, or I might be changing something, but it might affect something else. It's like, is this gonna break? And I think on the developer side, we've also heard the same things, like, oh, is the pipeline gonna break? Or is the site gonna like, am I gonna get a call at 2 a.m. and the site is down and now I need to fix something, right? So this is like in the best interest of both to play to their strengths, right? And I think this is where we decided that this is what's missing, right? And we've heard it's not just like that we've decided this on a hunch. We've conducted so many interviews with companies and with developers specifically and with marketers specifically, and we've talked to our design partners and early customers, etc. And like a lot of this came from them.